All right, guys, welcome back. It is UFC Vancouver this weekend. Yes, a card in Canada. As a fellow Canadian, couldn't be more stoked. I'm going to give you guys my predictions and breakdowns for every fight on this card. We're going to start at the bottom, go all the way to the top. There's quite a bit of Canadians. A lot of them I've actually trained with a little bit in the past. I'm not like super high level or anything like that, but I do train at TriStar, and a lot of the guys, they go through TriStar. So I've trained with a lot of the guys here. I'll try to keep as much bias out of it as I can, but there's going to be some bias for sure. So hey, at least I'll call the bias when it's bias, right? Deritter versus Allen, great fight. There's not any like really fights like I'm super excited about. Ritter versus why am I drawing a blank? Anthony Hernandez was a better fight, way more entertaining fight, interesting fight in my opinion, but still good like last minute replacement. It's what like you'd expect for a Canadian card. Other than that, sorry, I gotta actually click on the card. Other than that, I mean, there's a couple fights that I'm excited about, but not like, Mike Malott versus Kevin Holland will be a good fight. I'm excited for it. I'm not like, this is going to be insane. Vera versus Zahabi is, it's at least an interesting fight. There's not a whole lot of like, holy shit. But when you actually know the guys like kind of personally or whatever, then it makes it more entertaining. If I was rolling up to watch a UFC fight night or a UFC whatever card, and it was like this was the card, but instead of being Canadian, they were like Brazilian or something, I'd be like, this card is pretty bad. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so let's get into the fight card right off the bat. There's a couple chick fights in here that I actually haven't watched any of their fights. I apologize. It just is what it is. We're all busy. We got other things that are more important. So, Melissa Crotting versus Tainara Lisboa. I haven't watched either of these girls fight, so my apologies again. I'm not going to give you a big breakdown on this one, but I'm going to go with Melissa Crotting because she's from Canada. Yep, and she's not a picture yet, so she might be a Terminator. Sorry, there's a fly. Azamat Bikova versus Yusuri Belgari. Okay, that was an impossible name to pronounce. Right off the bat, I think this is a challenging fight for Azamat Bikova because Yusuri, I'm going to just say his first name. Yusuri he's a really good kickboxer. Like, obviously, he hasn't won against the highest level of kickboxing or kickboxers, but he's a good kickboxer. He's very, very tall for the division, 6'5". He's big. He's not like one of these tall guys who's like tall and kind of unathletic and, not in decent shape, like tall and like lanky or awkward with his movements. He's tall, but he's in good shape, right? He doesn't have a whole lot of experience in MMA. Obviously, he's got a bunch of kickboxing experience. So like when you see 8-3 versus 20-3, he's got a lot of kickboxing experience as well. The problem where I see this fight going bad for him is he doesn't seem to have hasn't had these high level performances or super high level performances in MMA yet. Getting used to whether it's the cage, whether it's just the fact that there's the thought of takedowns and stuff like that. Maybe it's throwing him off a little bit. I do think he's going to have a striking advantage against Azamat Bikova, but Azamat Bikova has a lot of experience in MMA. 20-3 is a really good record, and he's not bad. He's definitely a half decent fighter. He's a good fighter. He's in shape at least, unlike some guys that we see come through like some of these cards. But I do think the difference of this fight is going to be Azamat Bikova just with the experience in actual MMA and also being able to add the threat of takedowns. And I think like he's a good enough striker that he'll be fine against Yusuri, like in the moments in between. There's a chance he gets caught, and I'm completely wrong, but I do think that he'll be able to mix in the striking and the grappling and just have an experience edge in the MMA, where he's just either pushing up against the fence or he's able to take him down. And if he does get a takedown or he catches a kick and like trips him or something like that, sweeps him, then he's going to be able to hold him down for a little while for sure. So I'm going to go with Azamat Bikova. I think he will. I don't think he's going to be able to. Well, he could finish him on the ground, but I'm going to go with Azamat Bikova. I think he's going to get it done. Whether it's decision or finish, I don't know. Stephanie Lucindo versus Ravina Oliveira. This one for me is going to be, I think it should be an easy. It looks like two like I was going to say tweeners, two teen chicks going to war. It's like they both look like they could almost be in high school with these pictures they got on them. Why do I not have age here? Anyways, doesn't matter. I think Stephanie Lucindo should be able to win this one. I think she's just a little bit better all around. I haven't seen anything from Ravina Oliveira that's like impressed me whatsoever. Stephanie Lucindo just seems to be like just a little bit more technical, well-rounded fighter. So I'm gonna pick her to win. Again, it's like one of those ones where it's like, do you really know who's gonna win? No. And have I watched all their fights? No. Raven Oliveira is going to be a little bit of the bigger girl in there, like a little bit stronger. But I don't think it's going to matter too much, to be honest. Up next, Kyle Prepelec versus Drew Dober. Dude, Kyle Prepelec still hasn't got a new picture. He's got like a Reebok picture up there. And he did fight like recently. Anyways, weird. Not weird. It was last minute fight against Benoit Saint Denis. That was when they were in Montreal last time, and I wasn't here, so I couldn't go watch it, which sucked. But yeah, I don't know, dude. This is a tough one from Kyle Prepelec. He's not like a bad fighter, but is he like a high level UFC fighter? I mean, he was in the UFC. He got cut. He came back. Obviously, his fight against Benoit Saint Denis was like he was kind of like not set up to lose that fight, but like it was almost a layup for Benoit Saint Denis. Kyle Prepelec, like again, against Benoit Saint Denis, wasn't expected to win. Came in really short notice. Basically, like, hey, do you want to fight in the UFC? And we'll give you a second fight in the UFC. Absolutely, you're going to take that every day of the week. Especially somebody like Kyle Prepelec, who's up there in his career. He's had a lot of fights, and he's trying to get back in the UFC. You're going to take every chance you can get. Obviously, he got beat by Benoit Saint Denis pretty quickly. He did okay in the grappling in the beginning. I don't think he's going to be grappling with Drew Dober. His striking looked okay against Benoit Saint Denis, but again, Drew Dober is going to be a better striker than Benoit Saint Denis. He's going to hit a little bit harder than Benoit Saint Denis. The question of this fight really is like, is Drew Dober washed or not? Like, I think not even prime, like anywhere from like normal to prime, Drew Dober is going to beat Kyle Prepelec any day of the week. A washed Drew Dober, it could be a close fight where Kyle Prepelec could get a win. I think, in my opinion, I think most of us, I don't know, they don't have odds up here yet, but I don't know what everybody else is thinking, but in my opinion, I think this is like a fight where it's like Drew Dober should realistically win this one like pretty easily. But then again, who knows, man? He could be washed. I think Drew Dober's got this one in the bag. He's going to hit super hard. I mean, he did get finished in his last fight, but I don't see Kyle Prepelec finishing him on the feet, and I don't see Kyle Prepelec finishing him on the ground. So I think Drew Dober just, in the most part, his striking is better than Drew Dober, in my opinion, unless he's completely washed, but it's better than Drew Dober, and he's going to hit, Drew Dober's is better than Kyle's, and he's going to hit harder than Kyle. So I think he should win. I think he should be landing the bigger, more significant, harder shots, and he's going to have the similar output to Kyle Prepelec as well. So I'm going to go Drew Dober to get this done, and I think it's going to be a finish. I don't think it's going to go to the judges. Danny Barlow versus DeJordan Santos. I don't understand this name. You just put D in front of a Jordan. It's Brazilian for sure, yeah. DeJordan Santos. Danny Barlow is actually pretty decent. He's like super. People were hyping him up like he's a really, really good prospect. I think he's a good prospect. I don't think he's like the next coming of fucking Christ or anything like that. I think he's a decent fighter. It annoys me that he has the hair coming out the back like that, just like Skullet almost vibe, kind of like the one guy at flyweight. Why am I forgetting his name? Anyways, Charles Johnson. Excuse me. Wow. Danny Barlow is pretty good. His nickname is Left-Handed God or something like that. I don't understand it, but I don't think he's that good. Like he's basically pretty reliant on just landing power shots, in my opinion. But he's better than DeJordan Santos. So he's quite a bit better than DeJordan Santos. So he should win this fight against Jordan Santos. I think he'll get a finish in this fight. Yeah, I just don't think Jordan Santos is that good. So Danny Barlow should get this done. I don't think he's going to win like a lot of the fights, but I do think he's good enough to beat Jordan Santos. And I think he's going to finish him in the second round. Bruno Silva versus Hong Sung Park. This is an interesting fight for me. In my opinion, I always like watching the flyweights fight because I'm a midget as well. I know Bruno Silva. What was his last fight that he lost in? I believe it was to why am I drawing a blank? Joshua Van. Was that, I think, the last fight he lost. I could check that actually. But I think Bruno Silva is actually really good. Like I think Bruno Silva, like I know he lost to to Joshua Van, and he lost to Manel Kopp, and he beat Durden, and Durden's beat some decent people. I mean, he's not losing to anybody but the really good guys in the division, right? Like, win over Durden, win over Nam, win over Rodriguez, win over... Yeah, that was a long time ago, though. That's 21. Lost to Gear. Lost to Dobak. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had, like, the best wins in the division, but he also hasn't had the worst losses. Watching this fight with Van, I thought he actually fought a really good fight against Van. He was doing everything that he could against Van. The biggest problem when he fought Van was he just didn't have the power to get respect against Van. So, although he was landing a lot of shots, like touching and stuff at range and whatever, and high output, he has high output, he has good grappling. His problem was he couldn't hurt Van, right? I don't think he's going to have that problem with Hyung-Sung Park, where Hyung-Sung Park is just going to, like, kind of, terminate him and walk through him. Like, Joshua Van's big thing is, like, he's going to come forward. He has good boxing, but he's going to come forward. He's going to pressure you, and he's going to, he kind of bullies people a little bit. And Bruno Silva didn't have the power to really, like, slow him down. And although he's landed clean shots, his footwork looked good. His output striking wise looked good. His shot selection looked quite good as well. He was getting beat a little bit in the boxing, but he was throwing a lot of low kicks and stuff like that as well. He just didn't really have the power to stop Joshua Van. I do think not that I necessarily think he has the power to stop or like KO Hyung-Sung Park. I think he has enough power, and Hyung-Sung Park doesn't have enough power, where he's not going to have to worry about that respect-wise. He's not going to just be pushed back the whole fight. I think it'll be more of like a 50-50 where they're kind of going at it together. Grappling-wise, I think he'll do fine against Hyung-Sung Park. He's pretty good in the grappling. So I think Bruno Silva is just a better, more well-rounded fighter than Hyung-Sung Park and has a lot more experience. So I'm going to go with Bruno Silva to get this fight, to win this fight. I think he'll win a decision, though. I don't think he's going to be able to get Hyung-Sung Park out of there. But I think if he did what he did in the, basically against Joshua Van until he got finished, against Hyung-Sung Park, he's going to do just fine. He's going to win the fight on output. But yeah, I mean, he got hurt a couple times against Joshua Van. I don't see that happening in this fight. I'm trying to think what else. He didn't. It wasn't necessarily that he got tired. Like, he was just getting beat up, and he was gritted through that fight as well. So I'm not worried about him just like his gas tanker just giving up. He just couldn't slow down Joshua Van because he couldn't hurt him. Like, he was still landing clean. He just couldn't hurt him and just got walked down. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. This is actually a sick fight. I'm really looking forward to that. We got dangerous Davy Grant. I always like watching a Davy Grant fight. Who doesn't? Charles Jourdain. I'm a big fan of Charles Jourdain. Obviously, one of the better fighters out of this area in this era. But I think he's just like an entertaining person all around. His fighting style is really, really entertaining and good. He's got a great fighting style. His striking is good. His grappling is good. His takedown defense is really good. He's very, very well rounded. So, but Davy Grant is well rounded as well. I do think Charles Jourdain throws the more technical, clean and proper strikes. Like when in the striking, I think he's gonna be the more technical striker. Davy Grant, you have to be a little bit cautious because he throws these like looping hooks and stuff like that, and he's a little bit wild and whippy, but he's also pretty technical as well. Throws a lot of kicks as well. Neither of these guys are going to give up in this fight. It's not going to be a fight where like one of them gets hurt and like they start to slow down, or they just like they let themselves lose a decision. Like both of these guys are going to they're going to grit through whatever comes their way, and they're just going to get after each other. I do think Charles Jourdain has the ability in the striking to piece up Davy Grant. He might get hit with a couple clean shots, and he could get hit with something and hurt. But I do think if he gets hit with something and hurt, he's going to be able to use his grappling and just like his actual technical striking and defense to work his way out of it. So I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain. I think he should be able to get a win here. I think he has the advantage in the grappling. I think he's the cleaner striker. Davy Grant's always hard because he does do a good job against high level strikers, and he is a high level striker himself. He's a little bit awkward, but I do think Charles Jourdain is just a little bit cleaner in the striking, and he's got the grappling advantage, especially when it comes to submissions. He's also moved down from 145 to 135, and he has a couple losses, but his only real losses are to really good guys like John Silva and stuff like that. And that was up a weight class. So I do think that like now that he's at 135, he's going to be like he was a bit small for 145, so 135 he's going to be big for the weight class, and I think that's going to help him a lot. So I think Charles Jourdain is going to get this one done. He could get it done by submission. That's kind of what I would bet. Up next, we got Kyle Nelson versus Matt Vola. I've actually trained with Kyle Nelson like once or twice. Nice dude. I don't think that it's a tough fight for Kyle Nelson in this one. Matt Vola is not great, but like Kyle Nelson is gonna have a hard time with him for sure. Like striking wise, Kyle Nelson's like pretty good. Grappling wise, Matt Vola's got a big advantage in my opinion. I think he can out grapple him. At 125, and I grappled with Kyle Nelson, and I was like, and I'm not like high level. And I grappled with him, and I was like, okay. So the problem with this fight for me is just honestly, is Kyle Nelson getting hit with a big shot or getting out grappled? Either one of those are pretty good possibilities. Do I see him like KOing Matt Vola? He could, but not like not necessarily like what's jumping to mind when I see this fight. It's tough. I gotta pick Kyle Nelson just because I gotta pick Kyle Nelson, but I do think it's gonna be a tough fight for him. He could take him out on the feet. I don't think he's going to be able to out grapple Matt Vola, but I do think he can stop the takedowns and defend the submissions. And then it's just a question of whether he can keep it clean enough on the feet to avoid a big shot from Matt Vola. I do think he can do that, but he's going to have to be like it's going to be one of those fights where it's like, okay, like stick to the game plan and don't go out there and like overthrow because like the crowd at home is like screaming your name or something like that. Like you got to be careful. You got to make sure that like you're not overthrowing, getting taken down, or overthrowing, getting caught with something, because I couldn't see him getting hurt by a big shot from Matt Vola. But I think if it's a technical striking match, I think Kyle Nelson can win that. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Nelson to win. He could get a finish, either like second round finish, third round finish, or decision. We got Cody Gibson versus Aoriqi Lang. Do not know how to pronounce this dude's name, but I don't think any of you guys do either, so it's all good. Cody Gibson versus Aoriqi Lang. This is they both have like almost very similar records: 22-11, 25-11. I think this one's, in my opinion, I want to say pretty easy to pick, but I do think Cody Gibson should win this one for sure. He has a lot more output than Aoriqi Lang, whatever you want to say. He has a lot more output, which neither of them really get a lot of finishes as well. So with a lot of output like that, Cody Gibson's got a lot of grit. Like he's one of these guys who's not going to stop coming forward. He's not going to stop throwing. I think he's going to output Aoriqi Lang. I think that's just kind of how this fight goes. Do I see Cody Gibson getting finished by him? No. Do I see Cody Gibson getting a finish? Not necessarily, but I do see him throwing 2 to 3 strikes more. 2 to 3 strikes for every one of Aoriqi Lang's strikes, and being the guy that's pushing the pace, walking forward more. And I think that's going to be ultimately what wins these fights. We talk about it all the time on like the recaps and stuff like that when we're complaining about, on this channel, at least when we're complaining about people that are losing fights by just not throwing enough and letting themselves get, kind of backed up a bit. You can't let a fight go to a decision if you are throwing less than the other person. You just can't, right? So Cody Gibson at least has that going for him, where he's going to be throwing more output than Aoriqi Lang for pretty much the whole fight. So unless Aoriqi Lang finds a finish somewhere, he's probably going to lose, right? There's not much to think about it other than that. In my opinion, that's kind of how this fight will go. I think they're pretty equal in the stand-up and the grappling. Cody Gibson is definitely taller. He's got more range. And I think he's used to more, he's more used to these high output fights. So I'm surprised Charles Jourdain isn't higher up on this card, actually. I guess there's not much higher up on the card than that. Fuehrer Op versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. I really like Jasmine Jasudavicius as a fighter. She's probably the best female Canadian fighter at the moment, by far. Fuehrer Op is just really, really good for bantamweight. She is, outside of Valentina, she's probably the best bantamweight right now. I know Zhang Weili's coming up, and I think she'll probably beat Fuehrer Op, but or sorry, 125 flyweight, my bad. But Manon Fiorot is she's really good. She's big for the division. They're actually same height, but she is big for the division. She's manly for the division. She's strong. She got good striking. She's got really good takedown defense. And she's patient. She's really patient. So she's able to fight like on the back foot and like kind of just control distance and range and like be able to move around and avoid shots and defend takedowns super well and keep it on the feet. She definitely has a striking advantage against Jasmine, for sure. Jasmine definitely has a grappling advantage against her. I think she's a lot better grappler. And if it gets into the grappling exchanges on the mat, where it's like more jiu-jitsu stuff, I think Jasmine can get a finish. But I don't know how she gets it there, right? Like, it's going to be hard for her to get takedowns against Manon Fiorot, like, very hard. And yeah, like, that's the biggest problem. Like, she's going to get beat on the feet, like outpointed on the feet. She's going to get pieced up at range on the feet. I know Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to come forward. She's going to try to make it ugly. She's going to try to push the pace. But I think Manon Fiorot's very good at like staying on the back foot and, you know, piecing you up and staying out of range and avoiding like these clinch situations. And even if Jasmine does get to these situations, I do think she has to get her down, and I just don't see how she's going to get her down, which is the problem. So I'm still going to go with Jasmine. But keep all that in mind. I think it's a tough fight for her to win. Up next, we got my boy Amin Zahabi versus Marlon Ivera. Dude, Amin Zahabi's on like, I want to say a generational run, but a generational run. Bro's kicking it up right now. He's 13-2. I wonder what his losses are too. Amin Zahabi's looking really good in all of his last fights. He hasn't fought the same level of competition, I think, as Marlon Vera yet. And Marlon Vera is... I don't even want to say Marlon Vera is a step up in competition from Aldo, because he's not. Marlon Vera, in my opinion, is not that good of a fighter. I never really thought he was. But, yeah. Amin Zahabi's getting up there in the bantamweight division. The thing with Marlon Vera is, like, he really doesn't win anything unless he flukes, like, a finish at the end. And I absolutely hate these kind of fighters where they just let a whole fight get away from themselves by not throwing enough, not addressing the issue, not pushing forward, not keeping up output-wise, and just, like, thinking they're going to get a finish randomly. In a three-round fight, even in a 5-round fight, 25 minutes, against top-level fighters, it is so hard to get a finish. And if you're just counting on that every time, which literally Marlon Vera does, and it actually pisses me off so much, odds are you're not going to win the majority of fights. And that's usually what happens to him, right? We even saw in, like, the O'Malley fight, he's like, oh, but I got you that body shot at the very, like, last 10 seconds of the 5th round. Dude, come the fuck on. Like, if that's your mindset after a fight like that where you got absolutely brutalized for 24 minutes and you got one shot out of 24 minutes that, like, somewhat, like, kind of bothers the other person, and you're like, oh, but I could have won that if I got the finish there, then your mindset for fighting is completely fucking wrong, right? Amin Zahabi's not that guy at all. He's really, really good with game planning, obviously with his corner and being at TriStar and everything like that. He's really good at game planning. His grappling is good. His striking is good. He's got a weird style of boxing. He's kind of got like a ferocious style of like boxing. They'll cover like this. They're kind of like plotty. They're not like super fast twitch or like, you know, in and out. But he uses it really well, and he knows how to do it really well. Work with it really well, I guess, is like the words I'm looking for. Like, he has his own kind of style. It's not like your traditional like boxing, kickboxing style. But he does a really good job of it, and it works well against high level strikers if you can implement it right. Like we saw against Aldo, like he did get hit with some good shots against Aldo, but he also hit Aldo with some really good shots. And the thing I was most impressed with Amin Zahabi about in his last fight against Jose Aldo was just the output and the grit. Like there's been some of the fights where Amin Zahabi will fight like more slow pace on the back foot, checking all the kicks, like just outpointing people with the jab and stuff like that. And then there's a fight with Jose Aldo where he's not going to win that way, so he does the exact opposite of that, and he addresses the situation, and he just tons of output, tons of pressure, throwing a bunch. Every time he's getting hit, he's throwing counters. He's always pressuring Aldo. He's mixing grappling situations and takedowns, stuff like that, holding him against the cage. Amin Zahabi is like, whatever's going to win him that fight, he's really good at doing that. And I mean, for the most part, is he going to win a striking match at a slow pace striking match at range with Malott and Vera? I don't think so. I think it'll be pretty even, but I think he's just going to be able to address the situation where he's going to have to pressure Vera a bit, throw a bit more output than him, and just make sure he doesn't get hit with a clean shot. He can look for takedowns and stuff as well. I think his grappling is better than Vera's for sure. I don't know if he'll necessarily get it, but he's definitely better grappling wise than Vera. So I think Ehhhhh Zahabi should win this. I don't think he's going to finish in this fight, but I do think that he will be able to just out throw Vera, out pressure Vera, and if he does take him to the ground, Ehhhh Zahabi has some nasty ground to pound. Like we saw it against Jose Aldo, he was looking for a finish that whole third round after getting hit. Like he was he was slugging it out. Big elbows on the ground, which is going to do tons of damage as well. Like if he does get to that position, and he's got a good chin, man. He took a lot of really hard shots against Jose Aldo and was able to take them and keep going. So I got Ehhhh Zahabi winning this by decision. Unless Vera finds like a lucky shot, like it's like the typical Vera one where it's like not fluke a shot, but like just praying for like one of these KO shots to land and finish a fight, which happens like 1 in every 10 fights, right? So I got Ehhhh Zahabi to win this fight for sure. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. Mike Malott is like literally if you had to go chat GPT like a textbook fucking Canadian hockey player Chad guy, that's what you get. Like if you said find me a Canadian guy, an athlete, this is what you get. You get a Mike Malott. This is peak Canadian male athleticism vibe right there. Mike Malott is good, man. The problem with Kevin Holland is who the fuck knows what you're gonna get. Like, dude, Kevin Holland, like you watch some of his fights and you're like, oh, this guy is like he could easily be like top 10, pushing top 5 in the division, working his way up to a title shot, and then you watch him lose to D-Rod and you're like, what the fuck, brother? And I honestly, I just don't know what to expect with Kevin Holland anymore. Like, this is one of those fights where, like, Mike Malott, in my opinion, especially based off of, his last performance to D-Rod was shit, but recent performances from Kevin Holland, like, you got to pick Mike Malott and you got to expect him to win. He's the more technical striker. I don't necessarily want to say he's the better grappler, but he is a good he's a very high-level grappler. I would say his grappling is easily on par with Kevin Holland, and he probably has a strength advantage in there. So I think he's better, like, and cleaner and more technical all around. He's going to stick to a game plan. The problem with Kevin Holland is either he's dog shit or he's wild and literally just finishes you immediately in some random way, right? Like, you'll never know what the fuck to expect. So I can totally see Kevin Holland, like, just winging, like, he kind of throws like David Grant as well, too, where he like, loops and, like, wings a lot of shots. But if those catch you, like, they have a lot of power on them, right? So I could see Kevin Holland hitting Mike Malott with a clean shot, like, out of, like, something wild and hitting him and hurting him, either dropping him and following up. Kevin Holland does have good finishing instinct, so he could finish Mike Malott if he gets him hurt. Or you could get Mike Malott hurt. Mike Malott can shoot like a bad takedown and he can get caught in like a darce or something. We've seen that happen before in the grappling exchanges with Kevin Holland. But I do think that this is a fight where Mike Malott, if he stays clean, keeps it technical, and just follows the game plan, like, he should be able to win against Kevin Holland. I don't see how he doesn't win against Kevin Holland. I think he's got the striking advantage. Kevin Holland's not that much bigger than him. And I think his striking is a lot cleaner. He's got more power. And, in the grappling, I think he's just more technical as well. Unless he gets hurt and, like, caught with, like, a darce or something like that, like, trying to get back up or trying to defend, like, quickly when he's rocked, I think he's going to be fine. So I'm going to go with Mike Malott, and I think he's going to win. I think he's going to get a finish. I think this is one of the fights where Kevin Holland just looks like shit like he did against D-Rod. But I could be very wrong because it usually goes one with Kevin Holland where he, like, looks like shit, and then the next one he has a generational win, and then he comes back, he looks like shit, and then he does a generational win again. But who knows? I hope Mike Malott wins, and Kevin Holland can go back to beating unranked dudes. But it's hard. I like Kevin Holland as a fighter too. He's always entertaining. But I'm just like, Mike Malott has potential to actually, like, go on and move up the division. Kevin Holland, it's like, there's a time where I wanted to see this guy fight for a belt, and now I couldn't give a fuck less because he literally always wins like 1 or 2 and then loses. So, yeah, that's that. De Ridder versus Allen. I think we all know who we are picking for this fight. We're going with Reiner De Ridder. How could you not? First of all, He's way more entertaining than Brendan Allen. So, as a fighter and a character in the UFC in general. And if he wins this fight, he's probably fighting for the title, which we all want to see. That would be awesome. And we don't care about Brendan Allen. So, but in all seriousness, though, Brendan Allen's not bad. Is he a harder fight than Hernandez for Reiner De Ridder? Absolutely not. Does he have good grappling? Yes. Is it better than Reiner De Ridder's? I don't think so, right? Like, I don't think Brendan Allen has better grappling than Reiner De Ridder. He might have a little bit cleaner striking than De Ridder, but it's not better striking. Reiner De Ridder's striking might not be as like technical as Brendan Allen, but it's definitely good enough and better than Brendan Allen. It's just different, right? And I don't know. I remember watching Brendan Allen versus Vettori, and like, bro, if your striking looks like that against Vettori, like, Reiner De Ridder is a better striker than Vettori for sure. He's got more damaging shots. He's gonna use knees. He's gonna pressure you. He's gonna clinch you. He might get caught with a good shot, but he's durable, and he's way better grappler than Vettori as well. So I don't really see a world where Allen wins this fight at all, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't see a world where he wins this fight. I do think it's going to be a decently competitive fight, and I don't think Brendan Allen's a bad fighter or somebody you're just going to walk through. But there's just not really a path for him to win this fight against De Ridder. Like, he's not going to sub De Ridder. I don't think that he'll win a decision against De Ridder. Like, he's not going to be able to throw more, have more pressure, walking forward, anything like that in this fight against Reiner De Ridder. I don't think he's going to hurt or KO Reiner De Ridder. Like, when do we see Brendan Allen like KOing somebody? Marvin Vettori was literally just, I mean, I know it's Marvin Vettori, his head is literally built like a fire hydrant, but he was literally just standing there taking shots with his face for 3 minutes and whatever. Brendan Allen doesn't have like insane power. So, yeah, I just don't know how he wins this fight against Reiner De Ridder. I see Reiner De Ridder being able to do well in the grappling situations, and I think he probably ends up getting a finish by hurting Brendan Allen to the body or something like that with one of those knees, like he has in the past to other fighters. It was a close fight against Robert Whittaker, but I think Robert Whittaker just cooks Brendan Allen, in my opinion. Like, Robert Whittaker's good, man, and I think he's way better than Brendan Allen. I think that Reiner De Ridder, outside of his like 2 losses, like, he really hasn't lost to anybody like his size in the UFC, in MMA. Like, he really hasn't. He's got really high level experience too. So I think this is an easy one to pick. Reiner De Ridder versus Brendan Allen. Reiner De Ridder is going to get it done. I think he's going to get a finish in the third round probably second or third round. I'm going just second and third round for all these picks, but I do think Reiner De Ridder's got the ability to get the finish here. And yeah, I'm going to say there's no way Brendan Allen can win and something fucked will happen and set back Reiner De Ridder, but I really don't see how Brendan Allen can win this fight. So, yeah. Anyways, that's my picks for this card. I hope you guys enjoy. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and you can hype this video if you enjoyed it as well. We're on our way to 1,000 subs on the MMA YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, please do. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces.